Welcome to my channel. On this occasion, we're delving into the power levels of the most relevant characters from all the Dragon Ball Z movies. First and foremost, it's essential to clarify that power scaling in the movies is highly inconsistent. Often, determining how the main villains from the movies compares to the canonical enemies boils down to personal opinion. I will try to rank the power levels of the characters according to what we see on the movie and also to what makes sense in their respective placement in the timeline of the original story. Hence, it's likely that we may have differing views on where certain characters belong in the power scaling. Naturally, I'll explain my reasoning, and I welcome your input if you disagree or wish to suggest power levels for specific characters. Furthermore, I'll avoid delving too deeply into each movie's plot to prevent the video from becoming overly lengthy. Without further ado, let's begin with the first Dragon Ball Z movie, Dead Zone. In this movie, the main villain is Garlick Jr, accompanied by his 3 lackeys. The plot boils down to Garlick Jr kidnapping Gohan and wishing for immortality. As this movie is situated just before the Raditz saga, I'll assign power levels similar to what the canon characters had at that time. So as we stated in the Saiyan arc power levels video, Goku and Piccolo at this time had a level around 21. Same with Kami-sama, although he is weaker than both previous fighters by a few decimals, and also his overall stamina is even lesser in comparison to them since he is really old. Gohan doesn't directly fight, but after being enraged and elevating his power, he seals Garlick Jr. I give a level over 21 to Gohan. Before ranking the main bad guy, I gotta go through his henchmen. Sancho, Ginger, and Nikki. They are relatively strong for OG Dragon Ball standards, but they are still considerable weaker than the top-tier fighters at the time, which are Goku and Piccolo, and to some extent, Kami-sama. After all, Goku was able to dispose 2 of them in their transformed form, without even needing to take out his weighted clothing. I rank each of them in their base form at a power level of 18 and in their super form at 19. Now we move on to Garlick Jr, who in his base form was able to defeat Kami-sama easily, but if I could make a change, I would make Kami-sama give a much better fight at the start, and after a while, due to his stamina problems, he starts losing the battle. Garlick Jr.'s biggest strength is his immortality, so he is the worst kind of opponent Kami-sama could have. In his super form, the evil Garlick Jr. seems to be at least at the level of Goku and Piccolo without their weighted clothes. Considering all of that, I rank his base and super form at a power level of 20 and 21, respectively. The next movie is titled The World's Strongest, and its placement in the story should be between the Saiyan and the Namek arc. In short, the story of this movie is about Dr. Willow, who is trying to steal the body of the strongest fighter in the world for himself, aka Goku. Let's go very briefly through the canon characters, whose strength is around what they had by the end of the Saiyan arc. Krillin and Gohan have a power around 20. Gohan Enraged and Piccolo are around 22, with the Namekian being stronger by a few decimals. And Goku is the strongest one, with a level of 23.5 in his base form, and while using his limited and maximum Kaioken, he has a level of 24 and 25.5, respectively. The henchmen of the main villain are the Biomen and also the stronger Bio Warriors. Each Biomen have a level over 10, they were defeated by Mr. Rashi, so it shouldn't be too much higher than that. Each Bio Warrior are really strong, and also each of them possess a really strong gimmicky ability, and with it, they even forced Goku to use his Kaioken. I put them over 22 of power. Finally, we have Dr. Willow, who was able to overpower Goku with a Kaioken times 3, but a 4 times Kaioken seemed to be stronger than the Doctor. Although, it was stated that his power was raising even more after that. So, overall, I give the Doctor a level over 25. Next movie is The Tree of Might. This story should be placed before the fight of Goku against Frieza, maybe around the Ginyu battle. The movie's plot comes down to Turles and his soldiers invading Earth. The power levels for the canon characters such as Piccolo and such are not exactly the same as during the Frieza arc. After applying our power scaling, it should be around the following. Yamcha and Krillin have a level of 21, with the Baldy being slightly stronger by a few decimals. Next is Tien, with a level of 22, followed by Gohan and Piccolo, with a power over 23 and 24 respectively. Finally we have Goku with a level of 25 up to 27 with the Max Kaioken. There is also Gohan in his Ozaru form, who should have a power over 28, but this is only raw strength. In practice, his combat capabilities are inferior. Next, we have the henchmen of Turles. Starting with the twins, Razin and the other one. I rank them with a level of 21 each, but they make up the lower level by fighting in tandem with great coordination. The rest of the soldiers, like Cacao and Amand, have a power level over 23. Turles have a base power over 25, and after eating the fruit, his level increases to 28. Next movie is Lord Slug, and its main villain is surprisingly Lord Slug. There is not a clear time when this movie took place, but it should have been before Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan for the first time. The plot of the movie is essentially the same as the last one, but this time, the main villain is a Namekian. Gohan, Piccolo, and Goku have a power level of 25, 27, and 28.5, respectively. Goku with Max Kaioken have a power level of 30.5. And on its pseudo Super Saiyan, also called fake Super Saiyan, we can only assume that it's weaker than the true form. I rank Goku with the fake Super Saiyan at 30. To defeat Mr. Slug, Goku apparently used a Kaioken times 100, but it was only possible thanks to receiving a temporal energy boost from Piccolo. In our scaling, there can't be a Kaioken like that, but we could state that it was a maximum Kaioken, enhanced even more thanks to Piccolo's energy. I would rank Goku with this temporal buff, slightly over 31.5 of power, but of course, this boost only lasts for a single powerful strike. Next, we have the henchmen of Lord Slug, who should have a power between Gohan and Piccolo around 25 and 26. Finally, we have Lord Slug himself. In his old state, I place him weaker than base Goku by a few decimals, at 28. After regaining his youth, he has a power level of 30, and in his giant form, his level is over 31. Moving on, the movie called Cooler Revenge should be placed between the android's arrival and the Frieza fight in Namek. And the plot is about the brother of Frieza, Cooler, wanting to kill the Super Saiyan, Goku. The canon characters' power levels are the following. Krillin, Gohan, and Piccolo have a level of 25, 27, and 28 respectively. Goku in his base form have a power of 28.5, and in his Max Kaioken a level of 30.5. And in his Super Saiyan form a level of 31.5. The Cooler Force soldiers have a strength of 26, and the strongest of them, Salsa, a power of 27. Now, Cooler in his fourth form have a level of 30.5, and in his final form, a power of 31.5. I know that in the movie, he is supposed to be stronger than Frieza, but as I said before, movies are very unreliable and half the time, don't make sense. If anything, I would say that final form's Cooler is stronger than 100% Frieza, because he doesn't have stamina nor energy consumption problems, like his brother. Also, Cooler not being able to even harm Goku in his Super Saiyan form doesn't make any sense to me, unless this Goku is way more powerful than the canon version, but I would like to keep their levels similar to the original story, to not make everything confusing. So, with this version of power scaling, Goku fight against Cooler final form was much more even, and only won barely after a long struggle during the final clash. Next movie is The Return of Cooler. The plot is, well, Cooler returning, but this time all shiny and hard. To me, this movie should be taking place, at least, around the Android saga. The power level of the canon characters are the following. Goku, Vegeta in their base forms have a level of over 28.5, and in their Super Saiyan form, a level of over 31.5. Piccolo level is of 30.5. Metacooler and the Metacooler Core have a power level of 32. Following, we have the Super Android 13 movie, which should be placed before the Saiyans trained inside the hyperbolic time chamber to fight Cell. The plot of this movie is about the androids trying to kill Goku. The canon characters, Goku, Trunks, and Vegeta, have a power level of over 28 in their base form and over 31 in their Super Saiyan state, while Piccolo have a level of 30.5. To defeat Super Android 13, Goku absorbed the Spirit Bomb, increasing his power a lot more temporarily. I would give this powered-up Goku a level of 40. The villains from this movie, Android 14 and 15, have a power of 30. And Android 13 in his base and super form have a level of over 31 and 35, respectively. Next movie is Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, and the story should be placed right before the Cell games. The plot comes down to Paragus plotting against Vegeta and the others, and Broly fighting and destroying everything. The canon characters have the following power levels. Vegeta and Trunks have a power of 36 in their Super Saiyan Ascended form. Goku and Gohan in their Super Saiyan Mastered form have a level of 39. Piccolo's power is of 36. The antagonist, Paragus, have a power of 23. And finally, we have the OG Broly, and oh boy, this one was a hard one to rank. Broly have a lot of fans, and plenty of them think of him as one of, if not the strongest villain in Dragon Ball Z, but there are others that underestimate Broly's power too. Personally, I don't particularly hate nor love OG Broly. I am mostly neutral towards him, so I'll just rank him according to how I perceived him while watching the movie. If you rank him with a different power level, that's totally fine. So, base Broly while being restricted has a power of 20. In his restricted Super Saiyan form, I rank him at a level of over 35, although it varies depending of how restricted is his power. And in his legendary Super Saiyan form, I give Broly a power of 44. I would give him even more, but he still got defeated by Goku after receiving a temporal energy boost from his allies, and I find hard to believe he became much stronger than a Super Saiyan 2 with this increase of power, but there is nothing concrete either way. Next movie is Bojack Unbound, which is placed after Cell defeat and before the time skip. The plot is about space pirates trying to conquer Earth. Starting with Trunks and Vegeta, they have a power level of over 36 in their Ascended Super Saiyan form. Piccolo have a level of 36. And Gohan have a power of 39 and 44 in his Super Saiyan Mastered form and Super Saiyan 2 form, respectively. The henchmen of Bojack have a power of 34 and in the case of Kogu have a level of 35 in his super form. The leader of the space pirates, Bojack, have a power of 38 and in his super form a level of 40, perhaps higher if you feel like it. Next movie is Broly, the Second Coming. This movie is placed after the time skip, just before the 25th World Tournament. The plot is just Broly coming again. Let's rank the power of the canon characters. The Saiyan kids have a level of 27 and 30 in their base and Super Saiyan form, respectively. I rank Gohan with nearly the same power he had during the 25th World Tournament, in other words, weaker than how he was during the Cell fight. I know that in the movie, Gohan said he was stronger than last time he fought Broly, but at the time, he didn't know how to transform into Super Saiyan 2, and in this movie, we will state that he is capable of doing so, technically, making him stronger than last time he fought the legendary Super Saiyan. So Gohan in his Super Saiyan 1 and 2 have a power level of 38 and 43, respectively. There is also Goku appearing briefly to help his sons during the last moments against Broly. It is ambiguous if he was physically there or not, but to avoid any confusion, we will state that yes, he was there, momentarily helping against Broly. Goku have a power of 39 in his Super Saiyan form, and we will also say that Goku used his Super Saiyan 2 very briefly to defeat Broly alongside his sons. We only have Broly left to rank, and for this movie, he has increased his power, but we will state that it wasn't because of a Zenkai, but only because he now can use his full power properly, thanks to after so many years, not being restricted by his father's device to control him. So, Broly in his base form has a level of 28, in his Super Saiyan form, a power of 38, and as a legendary Super Saiyan, full power, have a level of 48. Of course, this is just what I think it's a proper power for Broly, taking in consideration everything we said before. After all, with our changes, he was defeated by 2 Super Saiyans 2, plus a normal Super Saiyan, and only because Broly was momentarily distracted by Trunks. Next, we have a very beloved movie, Fusion Reborn, which is placed during the confrontation against Buu. The plot is about a monster that was born from evil energies and whose very existence was threatening the other world. Goku and Vegeta power level in their Super Saiyan 2 form is 44. Goku, in his Super Saiyan 3 form, have a power of 49. Janemba, in his base form, have a level of over 47, and in his super form, a power of over 51.5. And finally, we have Gogeta, another fan-favorite character that creates a lot of discussions in the community, with fans comparing him to Vegito in terms of power. People either believe that Gogeta is weaker or stronger than the Potara fusion, and personally I agree that he is weaker, at least, in Dragon Ball Z. So, as we stated during the Buu Arc Power Levels video, since Vegito is using a divine method to fusion, the power boost is higher than the Metamorian technique. This is because the Potara earrings adds partial divine energy to the resulting fusion even if the users don't know how to use it, while the Metamorian technique does not. But if both users know how to use Divine Ki, then the boost increase for both methods of fusion is much higher than normal, making both fusion methods equal. So, Gogeta in Dragon Ball Super is as strong as Vegito, at least that's how we are going to scale them. Back to the main topic. Gogeta as a Super Saiyan during this movie have a power of 58. The final movie of Dragon Ball Z is The Wrath of the Dragon, placed not too long after the defeat of Buu. The power level of the canon characters are the following. Vegeta while using Super Saiyan 2 have a power level of 44. Gotenks in his Super Saiyan 3 form have a power of 52.5. Gohan with his unlocked potential have a level of 54. And Goku in his Super Saiyan 3 form have a power of over 49, but the power level of his Dragon Fist is around 55. And yeah, it is possible that in the movies, Goku is stronger than Gohan, but to me, makes much more sense that the Dragon Fist is just one of those very powerful one-time attacks. Also, Goku was able to defeat Hildegarn by finding out his weakness, which apparently was that whenever the monster felt strong emotions, his energy starting to drain or something. Anyways, trying to make sense of Toei's power scaling will let us nowhere, so let's just go with what we have. The big monster of this movie, Hildegarn, have a power of 51 in his base state, and after transforming, he has a level of 55. As an extra, I want to go through some others' original videos animation from Dragon Ball Z. Starting with the one called Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans. This one is placed just before the Cell game starts in the story, so our heroes have the same power during the Cell arc. The final antagonist of this OVA is Hachiak, who was stated to be possibly stronger than Broly, and showed very similar feats than him, although Hachiak have an actual weakness. I rank him at a power level of 45, and as a bonus, I give to his super form a power level of 49. Next OVA is The Return of Son Goku and Friends. This is placed 2 years after the defeat of Buu. The only Z fighters that participated in combat in this OVA were the Saiyan kids. In their base form they have a level over 27, similar to their power during the Buu arc. Gotenks in his base form have a power over 37. The antagonists of this OVA, Avu and Kato, have a power level of 27, similar to Frieza in his first form. And after fusing, they have a power of over 31. There is also the brother of Vegeta, and I rank him with a power of 22. And lastly, we have the Super Saiyan, Bardock OVA. The father of Goku, Bardock, have a power level of 27 during his fight against Chilled. And in his Super Saiyan form, a level of 30. Chilled have a power of 28. We are finally done with the movie's power level ranking, and with this, we finally finish Dragon Ball Z. Before I continue with Dragon Ball GT and Super, I want to make a video showing all the power levels we have done so far, including every Dragon Ball Z and OG arcs, and also the movies. I still don't know exactly how I will do it, but maybe I will just be showing some graphics like in some other YouTube videos, and hopefully it won't take too long. Alright, that should be for the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel, and if you prefer not to, I still appreciate immensely that you watched the video. With that being said, I hope you have great days to come and see you again soon. Smiley face.